Hi, and welcome to Getting Started with Minecraft Education, formerly known as Minecraft Education Edition. My name is John Halvorsen, and I'm a grade 6 teacher and the EdTech lead at Overlanders School. Before I start today's session, I'd just like to say that I am not in any way an expert or someone who has all of the knowledge about Minecraft education. I started my journey with Minecraft education last year with the Edmonton Public Pilot Project and was able to have some experiences with my students and have continued to explore a little bit this year as I have had time with my class. This has been something that has been very important to me as I have been interested in Minecraft education since its inception. Um, and I am just grateful that we have this opportunity to learn more about it. Through today's session, I hope that we'll learn a little bit about what Minecraft education is all about. We'll go over some of the key features and how to get started using it in your classroom within Edmonton Public. We'll go through the different types of game modes as well as how to access different maps. We'll look at the classroom and considerations for the curriculum and using it effectively. We'll wrap it up with an in-game demonstration, which will be about towards the end of this clip. And then we'll finish the session off today with just a little bit of resources that you can use to support your use of Minecraft education within your classroom or your learning context. What is Minecraft education? It's an open world game that promotes creativity, collaboration, and problem solving in an immersive environment where the only limit is your imagination. Minecraft education is basically the same as regular Minecraft, but it has some additional features. In Minecraft, if you're not familiar, users essentially mine materials using their hands or eventually tools and other things like pickaxes, axes, and they use those tools to gather resources so they can craft or create basically anything from houses to electrical circuits to uh, mechanized moving objects, all in within a virtual realm or virtual world. Within Minecraft Education, some of the key features include the ability to create, download, or modify maps. So you can actually make your own map just within the game, choose some settings, and create whatever you want within that world. You can also find maps online that fit your needs. For example, you might want to be looking for a map of Alberta to see the different regions, or you might want a map that already has some pre-made structures on it that your students can then modify to fit the needs of your learning outcome. You can also modify and tweak maps as you wish to fit what you need. Within Minecraft Education, users can access a camera and a portfolio. The camera allows users to take pictures within the game and save them to a portfolio or to a notebook. And the portfolio allows you to add text and save it as a PDF outside of Minecraft for submitting. There are some glitches that sometimes happen when using this on a Chromebook within Edmonton Public. So try it out first within your own context before using it for a larger project. Maybe do it as an initial test or have some students try to use a portfolio and save it. I have not yet done it successfully, but I have not tried to use portfolios for a little bit of time. Minecraft Education Edition also has chalkboards that allow you to provide instructions for students. You can put lots of text or small amounts of text, and you can also have chalkboards where students can write a message or put their key understandings down to demonstrate their learning. This is different than signs, which is something that you can also use in regular and education Minecraft, where you can put a small bit of information on a little sign, which is on a little wooden post, and it can be displayed outside of any structure or anywhere within the world. Uh, Chalkboards are larger and have more accessibility for learning. You can also access tutorial modes within the game. There are 6 tutorials, which I will share when I do the in-game portion. And there are also many online lessons and resources to support you if you're fairly new to Minecraft and are getting used to it. Minecraft Education has an immersive reader, which is essentially the same as read and write for Google. I'll demonstrate it later, but essentially, Immersive Reader allows you to have the text read orally. It also has options for focusing on different elements of grammar, like the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. It can break things down into syllables. It can customize the rate of speech, and you can also click on different words and see them translated into a language of your choice. It'll also give you a picture dictionary and allow you to hear the word individually in any language that you wish to translate it into. Educational Minecraft also has classroom mode, which is a separate download, which I've linked into this presentation. Classroom mode allows you to see where your students are, pause and play the game, and do some other unique features. I previously tried classroom mode in the spring and did not find it worked very well. It was constantly crashing on me. It may have been updated and may be worth exploring, but it's something you would have to check out and see if it works within your needs. There's also commands which are not recommended for a new user just based on the fact that they are a little more complex. I will show a few commands later. You can do things like teleport yourself to students or teleport them to you, or teleport a player anywhere within the map. You can also use commands to give players resources, remove players from the game, and do pretty much anything. You just have to know the type of command that you're looking for. For more advanced users, there's also Chemistry and Code Builder. Chemistry allows you to combine different elements to make different resources and materials, and Code Builder allows you to experiment with coding and create code, modify or edit it, and then execute it or implement it within the context of your game. There are many features within Minecraft that use code, like non-playable characters and customizing the game. From a beginning teaching and learning perspective, you don't have to have these features right away, but they're definitely worth exploring as you become more comfortable in your Minecraft journey. So, in order to get started with Edmonton Public, you need to go to Connect and search for Minecraft Education. When you do that, you'll be taken to this page where you will see there is a link to fill out a request form. You will need to have permission from your school principal, and they will likely get an email as well confirming that your school wishes to take part in Minecraft education. This will allow all of your students to have a profile created for them using their Google account to create a Microsoft account. Minecraft is owned by Microsoft, so your student Google logins and your teacher Google login will be used to create an identical Microsoft account using the same username and password. If you have students who come later in the year, on the same page, there is also a spot to fill in a form and request an additional account. This is because when your school is approved for Minecraft, an account is made for every user within that school at that time. So if a student joins after, let's say January 1st, you sign up for Minecraft and your accounts are created on January 10th. If a student starts on January 11th, then that student won't have a Minecraft account and you'll need to submit a request and allow up to a week for it to be processed. When you are doing Minecraft with your class, make sure you follow the division FOIP requirements. Students need to have access or consent for third-party apps. So there are 3 boxes on the new FOIP form as of this year, and one of them is for third-party apps. If they don't have consent, you can contact families and explain to them the program you want to use, its educational benefit, and hopefully parents are willing to sign that. Otherwise, you will not be able to use that with students who do not have FOIP consent. The second part of FOIP consent is notification. So make sure that you or your principal posts something on School Zone or sends home some information just informing parents that as per FOIP that you have their permission and you are just notifying them that you are using the third-party app of Minecraft Education. It's good to include the privacy policy and just letting parents know that, of course, we don't own the servers and we have no control over how they manage that information, but it is Microsoft and it's a pretty reliable company. Once you've met those requirements of getting access for your school and FOIP, you can now download and install Minecraft Education. I've included a link for Minecraft within this slide, and you can get it on your Windows PC either at home or at work. If needed, you may have to make a request to your ITS tech staff member who will then install it on your teacher computer at school. For Chromebooks, you should be able to have students go to the Google Play Store and install Minecraft Education on the device. It's important to note that when you install Minecraft, it said per device install, and it saves your data on each individual device. Meaning, if you install it on one Chromebook and you use a different Chromebook, you will need to install it on that Chromebook. It should be installed for all users of that Chromebook, just due to the settings. Same thing if you install it on one Windows PC and you want to use it on a different one, you will need to have it installed on each PC you wish to use it on. And the same goes for your data. If you make a world or create content on one device, you will have to export and save it to a portable drive or to Google Drive, and then you will have to upload it or import it on your other device. As even though you are on an account and it is signed in, your content saves on the individual device you are using. Edmonton Public also has a useful link of resources that has all kinds of useful information for teachers. One specific thing to highlight is that there is this note about if students are asked to provide a phone number during the sign-in process, not to worry, tell them to click cancel and it should allow them to continue the process. I have not run into this problem this school year. Last spring, I did have it come up where students were prompted to optionally enter a recovery phone number for their accounts. We just had them skip that step and continue the install. There are several game modes in Minecraft. The first one is survival, and the survival mode is the most commonly used one when students or when people are playing Minecraft as sort of a free time or just for fun, and it's the most similar to the original Minecraft game. In survival mode, your goal is to mine or gather resources and then use those resources to craft or create materials and objects and items that you can then build with. So, for example, if you want to make a pickaxe, you would have to use your hands to harvest wood from a tree, and then within that you would make a crafting menu, or go in the crafting menu you would make wood planks, and then from wood planks you would make sticks, and then your sticks can then be made into a pickaxe to then harvest stuff from the ground or from trees or from other objects. In survival mode, you have a health bar and you can be injured through things like attacks from other characters or creatures like little mobs or monsters that can spawn. You can also take damage from falling from a certain height, or you can even die if you fall from too high. And you also have to eat food in order to survive in the game. Food can be harvested from animals or plants. And there's different recipes. The more complex the recipe, the more food it will give you. Similarly with meat, if you eat meat, if it's cooked, it will give you more health than if you eat it raw. And there are certain foods like rotten flesh that will also cause you some harm and poison you, just like as if you were to eat in real life. So survival mode has varying levels of difficulty that are available and customizable within the settings, and it is more realistic, but it's also very time consuming. So if your goal in Minecraft is to have students create content and make things that visually show something, creative mode would take a really long time because they would have to gather every material needed in order to make that possible. If your purpose is to have students try and experience a real life scenario, or to um, try, you want them to survive in a certain element or in a certain landscape and live from the land, then survival may be an option for you. Creative is the next mode, and it is probably the most simple, easiest to use, and most applicable to an educational context. Players have access to all the materials and resources in the game with very few limitations, such as certain educational features or certain um, functions that are only available to the highest level administrator. Things like command blocks and other things that are only available to the person hosting the game. So um, you'll have a menu over here that you can access your inventory by pressing the E key on creative, and then within that menu you can search for different materials and use it to build or construct various things. Typically in creative you can't get injured or hurt. There may be options to turn on player versus player or allow fall damage and other things, but I would encourage, especially for new games, to leave these things off. Uh, there are no requirements to eat either. In survival, when you want to harvest a brick, you have to hold down the left button on your mouse, and your hand or your tool will harvest until you can get blocks from that material, and it might take a few seconds for materials to collect into your inventory. On creative mode, as soon as you click, those materials instantly go to your inventory, and you then have them to create materials with. Creative also can have the ability to fly if you have this enabled in settings, depending on your wish for your students. When I have students playing, I don't always want them flying around, so I often just disable that and have them on the ground. And then as a teacher, I'm able to fly over the area students are using and monitor what they are up to in a shared setting. The final mode is adventure, and this is essentially a non-modifiable world. Players can go through a walkthrough, they can interact with non-playable characters or NPCs as pictured below. So there can be these characters that you can add into the game, and they can have a text or a message, and then when you click on them, they may automatically have something happen depending on how they're set up. And there can also be buttons that when you click, they do different things. I have established some adventure games myself where students will go through and interact and do a tutorial. And then when they click on the NPC, it takes them to a quiz where they test their knowledge based on the level that they're doing in Minecraft. So you can actually put links in there to content outside of Minecraft, or you can have it give them a material, or pretty much do anything depending on your knowledge of the game and your ability to add that code in. Within the adventure mode, you can essentially create playable scenarios or a virtual video game within a game that students then have to go through a level and unlock content or complete a series of tasks to show their knowledge or to complete some type of lesson. Importing, exporting, or saving maps. In Minecraft, maps are saved locally to your computer or to the student's Chromebook that they are currently using. If you want to make a map at home and then access it at school, you're going to need to do what's called an export and then an import. The same would be for students who want to access their worlds at home or create a world at home and use it in the classroom. To do that, you would, from your maps within the game, which I will demonstrate after, you'll need to go onto the map, export it, and save it to a removable drive or save it somewhere that you can then email it. And then you need to, on your other device, import it from wherever you have it saved, whether that's your Google Drive or an email or a USB stick, and then you can import that world into Minecraft. The same thing goes for if you have a map you find on a website, or if you want to share a map with others, then you would need to do an export, or you need to save that map somewhere, and then you would be able to import it into Minecraft. It's important to note that there are a couple different versions of Minecraft, including the Education Edition. Minecraft formerly was mainly a Java-based program, and now it is on what's called Bedrock. So when searching for Minecraft worlds online, Bedrock is the one that is compatible with Education Edition, and it's also the type that is most commonly used with consoles and other Minecraft platforms. when looking for files, if you have one that's a big zip folder with a whole bunch of assorted files and folders and subfolders, then it's probably a Java file. Uh, Minecraft Bedrock Edition files are just .mcworld, and they are super simple to upload and import and get ready to use. Classroom and curricular considerations. It's important to note that Minecraft is more than just a free time fun game for your students. It can be used as a really great resource and a really super engaging, powerful educational tool. It gives your students a chance to work together, collaborate, and it can give you a chance to have some really great structured gameplay, some scenarios, and even refresh content or how students explore a lesson. Uh, when getting started with Minecraft, initial setup and implementation can take a fair bit of time, especially if you're not familiar with the game. I highly recommend that you go through the tutorials first and try it out yourself and make sure you really understand the content and the game and how students will be using it, uh, just to get a really good understanding and know like what trouble your kids would have and to be able to support them as effectively. It's also important to note that like even in my classroom context, there are many different levels and abilities within my students. So your first couple times playing, you might just want to have students go and do a free exploration, or try it out on some free mode, or have a couple of small tasks to complete before doing a larger project or a really big activity, where you're going to invest a lot of time. Minecraft has a really great website with lessons and resources, and you can go online and you can actually see some amazing content for teachers and for lesson content for students. Um, I highly recommend checking them out if you're looking for some ideas. There's uh, basically any subject area that you're looking into. You can click on the subject and you can also narrow it down. By age and by grade level. So there's some really great ways to see how to incorporate Minecraft to make learning really fun. And they do have some Common Core connections and age-based connections to help you out. Within my own school, some activities we have explored previously uh, have included last spring, my class did a collective identity project where students visually showed their collective identity in a visual way. Uh, this year, I've had a colleague have her students model a story setting. So they had a story for spooky haunted houses, and then they went into Minecraft and actually created their little haunted houses based off of their story. You could similarly do something like that with a novel study where students can uh, visually show a chapter or even summarize parts of the novel in a creative, engaging way. I've had colleagues who have done interpretations. One did had students do a virtual Inukshuk, where they tried making different types of Inukshuk and made them visually within the context of Minecraft. Students could also visually represent any concept you've explored in class. So my next science unit is flight. I could have students try to create a representation of an aircraft and then label the different parts with chalkboards or signs. You also could, similar to how I'm doing this video here today, you could have students record their content in Minecraft with a screen recorder like Snap or Screencastify or WeVideo, and then record a walkthrough of them explaining what they've built and how it connects to their learning in a really engaging way. Next, we'll look at using the actual Minecraft education software to do an in-game demonstration and show some of the key features and how you can get it going in your own classroom. First, you'll need to log into the program using your Microsoft account, which would be the same thing as your Edmonton Public account. Remember, when students start using this program, they will need to sign in with the @share.epsb.ca which does take a little bit of getting used to. When you initially sign in, one thing that's kind of fun for students, especially if you're waiting for a class, is they can go and customize their character by clicking the coat hanger and modify their skins to fit the look and style of how they would like. From the main menu, the most important area to go to is the play section, and you'll see several menus. As mentioned earlier, if you want to create a new world, you can go here and you can customize based off of what you would like. You can name your world, choose your game mode and difficulty, and go ahead and customize the settings for your individual game. I highly recommend starting with one of the options from the library. They do have build challenges, which are a little more complex, but I recommend going with the start to play and going right into the tutorials. When your students start, they have the same menu that you're looking at right now, and the same menu that you'll have as the classroom teacher. So I recommend going through and having your students do these tutorials, all 6 of them. You can also go through these yourself if you're not familiar. Whenever you access a tutorial or a preset world, it'll just say create world, which is essentially the Google equivalent of making a copy and saving it to your game, because it takes that same template and just applies it so that you can use it for yourself. So the tutorials are pretty simple. They walk you through some of the basic steps. You just kind of learn how to move around. This one, you have to move your mouse cursor and look at the gold bricks to see how the game works. And it does provide hints throughout the game. And this would be also an example of an adventure game where you complete a series of tasks. If you're in a game and want to leave, you can click save and exit, and that will take you back to that main menu that we were at earlier. In the view library, in addition to the how to play, you can also click this link, which will take you to the Minecraft website, to the education homepage, and you can see some resources that were shown earlier in the presentation. There are also subject kits, which show you different builds and different things you can use for different subject areas, and you can explore these at your leisure or offer your students or encourage them to try some out. I have not gone in depth on these because there's just so much information, so much content on Minecraft. It's impossible to do everything, even in one school year. I really enjoy using the starter worlds. There are biomes, which are basically different sort of themed or different landscapes that you can go into. This would be great for science or social studies to connect with whatever you're learning and have students explore different habitats and try living in them or doing an activity in them. It also just kind of has the texture and skin, making it look a certain way. In the build plates, these are pre-created and allow you to basically have a world with some very simple settings and get started. I recommend after the tutorial using one of these to get started if you're going to host your first multiplayer game. Block of grass is just known as a flat world. It's super flat. There's no hills or textures. As you see in some of these other worlds, they have more textures and more sort of features. Block of grass is really flat and allows students to just be visible from really far away. One of my favorite builds is actually this digital classroom where you can go in and each student has their own plot of land to build on. You can also access a digital hundreds chart or even a starter town. As mentioned earlier, you can actually import worlds, and I'm going to do that now. I have several worlds that I have previously worked on with my classes, so I will show the first one I'm going to show is a tutorial world, and I will put a link to the website in the resources. But this was basically a world I found online, and once you've imported it, you'll just need to go in and click My Worlds, and then you can see in here, this is where you would actually, if you want to export a world of yours, you would do that, but I'm just going to click play. Each of my students would uh, get a copy of this world from Google Classroom, and then they would download it and then upload it to Minecraft, which is a bit of a process initially, but it's really good to get your students knowing how to do that. This world is meant to be played as a single player, each student with their own copy, and it's basically an adventure map where you go through a series of steps in order to learn how to play Minecraft. So I actually took this world and customized it. As soon as you walk in, it disables World Builder, and you can see there's non-playable characters that have information for you on how to play and learn the game. This is a little more in-depth than the basic tutorials, but I found it was a really cool way to engage students and also try some features myself. This is Interactive Reader in the bottom corner, which I mentioned earlier. It's a little book with a read symbol. If I just click on that, it'll take a minute to load. Once you've loaded Immersive Reader for the first time, it should be quicker in your game. Uh, Basically, there are a few functions. You can click the play button, and you can also pause it. You can customize the voice speed, male or female. You can also adjust the text size, change the font, increase the spacing, and even change the theme if, for example, you have a student who needs a high contrast view. Under the second option here, you can break the speech down with different syllables to show that as a literacy connection. You can also highlight or focus on nouns, for example, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. This helps students see the parts of speech and grammar within a fun, engaging context, and you could incorporate this into some kind of literacy lesson. Finally, under reading preferences, you can have the reading focus on one line at a time if you wish. You can also enable or disable the picture dictionary, allowing students to see from a board maker perspective a visual representation of what a word has. You can also choose a language. So if you have students who are English as a second language, you can go in here. For example, I have many Arabic speakers in my class. I could click on that. They could choose their language, and I can either do the word by word or the whole document, which is what I'm going to do. And I can actually do that. And I believe if I click play, it will play the whole document or the whole text in the language of their choice. You can also go word by word, where you can click on a word, see the word in English, listen to it in English, see the word in Arabic, listen to it in Arabic, and also see a visual representation. That is Immersive Reader in a nutshell. As mentioned earlier, my previous class last year did a project on collective identity. Each student needed to represent a identity they associate with in Minecraft using a specific sort of class template. This is a really great build plate because it gives each student an individual space to work on. When you first walk in, you can right click and there's an instruction sort of character that gives you an idea of how the world works. You give each student a number from 1 to 30, and then they use that number, and that plot of land is theirs to work on. This is an immutable world, meaning that whenever you click somewhere, you can't edit it. Or wander off of certain areas. Within this world, I customized some of the instructions, so my students were given the task here to create a symbolic representation and then be creative and only edit in their area. If they did not follow my instructions, I would remove them from the game using the kick command. Uh, when they are done, my instructions were to add more detail, color, or work on another symbol to improve their design. And when they right click on this little Mr. Halvorsen here, it gives them some additional instructions. In this world, when they go to their area, they stay there until they walk over a block of green stained glass, which is actually built into the code of this map, which I will go in more in depth on a different session. Um, So if you click on here, it will give you a teleport block. And of course, there's that immersive reader as well. So now when I walk out of this little mini classroom, which is just kind of for show, you can see that each student would have an individual plot of land. Rather than numbering it, I actually previously went in and also customized each student's build with their name as seen there. When each student goes to their plot of land, you'll see these little red border blocks, meaning they can't leave this area or walk outside of this plot of land. Now, if students walk over this little green block, which I put here, it will teleport them back. Alternatively, if they put down a block of grass by going to their first inventory slot, then it will teleport them back if I walk over top of that. As a teacher, when I'm in this world, I typically don't want to be limited by the same things as the students, or if I want to edit it, I want to be able to do that. So what you do is you press the slash key and you type in WB as I just did, and it will enable world builder mode, which basically just allows me the freedom to move around freely. Unlike my students who are limited by these red borders, I can go around and I can look at all my students' projects and see all the amazing work they are doing. When students are actually in class, this looks a little more engaging and interesting because you can actually see every student in here working on completing their projects. One thing to note when you are in a collective or multiplayer thing is your settings. If you press the escape key, there is the option to host by clicking on this picture here, and you can start hosting and it'll give a picture prompt that allows students to join your game by entering this code. And the same process to stop hosting. If you go into settings, there are some really interesting settings that you can use to customize your game. As I showed earlier, you can customize what level players get. I would never give operator status to a student because this is essentially the commands and allows you to do all kinds of unlimited features within the game. If you see your world options, you have many different options to pick from. I often disable friendly fire and all of these ones that are abilities to have destruction in a peaceful type of game when I want curricular things to happen. I also disable weather strike cycle because you don't want it to be raining and cloudy and dark when you want to focus on building. If I click on Classroom, these are additional features that allow me to customize my game. So I have made it always day. Mobs can spawn, so that's things like that horse that was in the background. I've disabled destructive items and player versus player damage. A mutable world in this world specifically makes it so that players can only edit or work on top of these building blocks, which are these little things that look like wood on the ground. Every other spot in this world that's grass or anywhere else, they can't edit because it is not on a buildable block. So that's what an immutable world means, is they can't actually destroy anything. Similar to an adventure map, they are limited in what they can actually destroy or build on. And the border effect just shows students where they're in a border area. The final world I'd like to share today is Hoggy Warty Hogwarts. And I do have a link shared for this world in the resources at the end of this presentation. This world is really amazing because it's actually somebody's amazing creation of the world of Hogwarts and Harry Potter. And it is a massive build that has probably taken this content creator years and years to build. And they do keep adding to it. They have a Patreon where you can actually pay and get even more content than what I'm going to show a little bit of today and what's shown on the resource link that I've provided. So when you are first dropped into this world, it takes you to a starting map, and you also have a little bit of unique features. You have a wand. When students are joining this world, it might ask them to download additional content because there is some modifications, like a wand is provided. That is not a normal feature of Minecraft education. But you start out at this sort of main area. There's a general map of kind of what is where, and you can kind of see the Hogwarts grounds and all the different sort of features of Harry Potter here. Um, I'm going to go ahead and walk through, and the first thing you get to see is this beautiful creation of the train for Hogwarts Express. Uh, I'm just going to go ahead and walk, and it's a bit of an awkward step up to the train, but when you go onto this train, and there's different ways to get on from other sides, there are these gold pressure plates, or throughout the world, there's these pressure plates, and if you step on them, it will teleport you to different areas. It does take a little bit of time to load just because of the size of this build. Uh, when you get off the train, you can see that we are actually at platform 9 3/4. And if I go through this pressure plate, it will take me to the other side where we are at King's Cross Station with these beautiful interpretations of what the trains might look like and what the inside of the terminal is. And then you can connect that with your students about how does Harry get on the train, and they can see 9, 10, there's the platform, and then Harry goes in. And so it's just a neat way to sort of retell a piece of literature visually. It's an amazing story. Um, and this is just a really amazing build, and kids get mesmerized by all the things, and it really inspires their creativity. A couple of features with this map is it really uses the teleportation feature, which is the / command, and then you type in TP for teleport, and then you can either type in a person's name, or you can type in the @A to teleport everybody, your whole class. Or if it's just you, you can just type in TP and go ahead and type in the coordinates. So I'll just type in a couple of coordinates here just to give you a brief tour. Um, and this is a great way for you to uh, show off a little bit of the world to your students and get them excited to explore the world of Harry Potter. So here you can see we've transported ourselves to the Leaky Cauldron, um, which is where Harry Potter actually originally meets Professor Quirrell, and Hagrid takes him right on through, and they go ahead and end up outside at this back wall, where if you go to your inventory, you can use your magic wand just like Hagrid did and transport your students to the world of Diagon Alley, where they can see all the shops and stores and explore what it has to offer, and even see Gringotts Wizarding Bank at the end. So another place that's really cool to explore is the Great Hall, or the Grand Staircase. So this is where Harry gets to first come into Hogwarts Castle, which is massive. If you can see by the sheer size, it won't even fully load. And then you can see that you can actually go right into the Great Hall. And if you set this up in advance, you could customize this as a playable game where your students could come in here, interact with some of these professors, and have them say different things, or even tell them different quests like complete a task, or here's a Google form to complete a reading comprehension question. Teleport to one more place inside the novel. Um, this world is so massive. There are hundreds of locations that you can check out with your students. And if you're a Harry Potter nerd yourself, this might be a way to um, be able to explore how to play Minecraft on your own as well. So here we are on Private Drive, or Privet Drive, and you can actually go through, and with your students, you can show them um, the room in which Harry slept, and they can, visualize what the novel is saying. There's the bedroom under the stairs. And then if we go upstairs, I believe you should be able to find um, all the Dursleys' bedrooms, and where Harry had with the bars on the window. So all around, just um, a really cool way to explore literature and a novel study, um, but also use Minecraft at the same time. I hope that tour gave you a little bit of insight into how Minecraft education works and some of the amazing features it has to offer. I have on the last slide here, I just have some resources that are useful. We have the official Minecraft site, which shows you all the lesson plans and has different training and tutorials and tips. There's a link to the tutorial world I used in which you can download the MC World file, customize it if you want, and have your students go on a walkthrough similar to the tutorials, but a little more comprehensive. This is also a great place for you as a teacher to explore and get a little more in depth, especially some of those more advanced features. Here's a link to that Hogwarts map that I shared, and it has all the links to the locations, and also at the bottom, there's a file you can download. I have a resource that shows just a comparison of some of the key features of the educational Minecraft. There's a link here that shows how you can make different elements and how you can use them to make different materials in Minecraft with the chemistry set. There's a YouTube channel for Minecraft education that's an official channel. And of course, you can search YouTube and find so much content on Minecraft and the Minecraft education. Remember when looking for resources that they should be related to the education or at least to the Bedrock version. If you want to use other maps, they don't have to be Education Edition, but they do need to be Bedrock or .mc world files to be compatible. And finally, the Elk Island Public Schools also has a little guide online that you can check out and see a little more about Minecraft education. If you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to your tips team member. They will probably have some resources and will be able to help get you started on your journey with Minecraft. I'm also able to answer some general questions. If there's anything you want to ask, by all means. I do hope that we can do a session later this year at another uh, teacher PD day of choice where we can have a live session and chat about some of the amazing features of Minecraft and go a little more in depth on some of those advanced features. Thanks for attending today's session, and I hope that this was informative and useful to you.